Hello friends, welcome you all on this evening on behalf of Vivekananda Samiti. So has been celebrating this since last 2 years, and this January we celebrated the Vivekananda Youth Leadership Convention, and where we had many eminent talks by eminent dignitaries. And continuing the same process, today we are privileged to have Swami Narasimhananda ji from Advaita Ashram, Kolkata, which is a branch of the Ramakrishna Mission and Ramakrishna Math. Swami Narasimhananda ji is the city editor of Prabuddha Bharata, which is a monthly started by Swami Vivekananda back in 1897, and he regularly writes articles on various subjects of religion, philosophy, social sciences, and he's also very interested to talk to and interact to various students and youth, and in that context he also regularly visits IIT Kharagpur, where he takes classes on Upanishads and other allied subjects. So we are indeed privileged to have here in this evening Swami Narasimhananda ji. So I will request him to take up the dais and begin his talk on the psychology of the Gita.
Good evening. Am I audible to all of you? So, psychology of the Gita. Before going into the subject proper, I would like to thank Vivekananda Samiti for having invited me here, because it's always a joy to interact with young minds, bright minds, and also because the city Kanpur is the city where I was born, and after having spent first 4.5 years of my life here, I went out, and this is the second time I'm coming to the city, and also because two of my friends, Swami Sarvottamananda, whom you might be knowing as Shrish Jadhav, belong to this, and another one, Mahan Maharaj, Brahma Vidyananda, who recently got the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar prize for his work in topology, which I don't understand anything about. It's all Latin and Greek literally to me. So they come from this, and Sarvapriyanji came sometime back here, and he told me that it's probably the best academic institution in India today. So for all these reasons, I am happy to be here in IIT Kanpur. And now I am going to talk about manuals of life. What are manuals of life? Generally we have an idea, particularly the youngsters. We have an idea when we talk about religion, about spirituality. वो तो बाद में देखा जाएगा. It's a post-retirement plan, something which has to be enjoyed with gratuity and PF benefits, which you get after retirement. When you purchase a computer, or when you purchase a car or a refrigerator or anything, it comes with a manual, right? Now this manual tells you what to do when everything is correct, for dummies, that is, those who don't even know how to open the packet, or what to do when something goes wrong. We have been handed over manuals, such manuals by the tradition, in the form of the Bible, in the form of the Quran or Gita, Upanishads, so on and so forth. And they teach us exactly that. They tell us what to do when things go wrong in our life. But unfortunately, thanks to our wonderful education system, what we do is we keep all these manuals somewhere comfortably out of our reach, and then bother our heads when some problem occurs in our life, and then most of us try to commit suicide, some join Hemlock Society, etc. So I am here to just bring your attention to this fact that these are manuals which have to be used while you are alive, while you are in the heat of the moment, because probably for this reason, Krishna talked about Gita to Arjuna in the midst of a battlefield. It was not in an ashrama. It's when life is happening, when you are here, that you need these manuals. And these manuals are not so much religious as you think. I mean, Swami Vivekananda, in fact, he brought out 4 yogas, which was already done by Shankaracharya, but he did it very eloquently and very nicely from these manuals or Gita. Raja Yoga, that is the yoga of meditation, Karma Yoga, yoga of action, Jnana Yoga, yoga of knowledge, and Bhakti Yoga, yoga of devotion. Out of these, 2 are non-theistic paths. You don't need to believe in a God. You don't need to believe in any system of faith, any belief system. You can simply follow them, and they are sheer science. And they are Raja Yoga, the yoga of mind or meditation, and Karma Yoga, the yoga of action. So these are scientific methodologies given to us so that we can use it in our daily lives to cope up with problems and also to find out solutions which can be directly applied. So that is what we are going to see. Now what we will first see is the psychology of the Gita. See, Gita begins with psychology, ends with psychology, and has got psychology in it completely. Only we have to understand it. How is that? You see, what is Gita about? The first chapter of Gita? Anyone? The battlefield. But the first chapter of Gita is despondency of Arjuna. Arjuna Vishada Yoga it's called. So Arjuna suddenly, before the war started, Arjuna was very much resolute that he will find an end of Karna. Arjuna wanted to see an end to the whole Kaurava dynasty. But when he came in front of the battlefield, then again he was like cat on the wall. He was just seeing what to do and what will happen. And then he asked his charioteer, now such a glorious charioteer, driver. About this I have a joke I will tell you afterwards. Anyway, glorious charioteer chauffeur, and he asked this chauffeur that you please take this chariot to the middle of both the armies. And then he sees. And then what happens? What happens is, okay, during this course of this talk, I will be also going back to the verse translation of Bhagavad Gita called the Song Celestial by Edwin Arnold. He has also written a wonderful poem on the life of Buddha, which is called The Light of Asia. Mahatma Gandhi read this poem. So what happens? Arjuna says, Drishtvevam swajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishusyati. His mouth went dry and his limbs were shaking. And then he says, Vepatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandivam sramsate hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate. His skin started becoming dry, and the gandiva, something closer to AK-47 in the modern times, was falling from his hands. This is what happened. Actually what happened? You go to a job. Before entering the job, you know exactly what you are supposed to do. They tell you so much in the advertisements itself, then in the interview, then there are probably not one interview, a couple of interviews. Then you go to the job, then you are there on the first day, then you actually see what you have to do, what is done. What happens then? Then you get this fear that I will not be able to do. That's what exactly happened to Arjuna. He said, Nasha shaknomi avasthatum brahmati vacha manaha. My mind is wavering. I don't know what to do. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. And I don't find any good in this war. Suddenly the Arjuna who was about to kill Karna finds no good in fighting the war. He says, Nacha shreyo anupashyami hatva swajana mahave. And he says, these are my own people. See, he was bent upon killing Karna. And Arjuna now says, these are my own kith and kin. Why should I kill them? Na kangshe vijayam Krishna. I don't want any victory. Nacha rajyam sukhani cha. I don't want the... Suddenly people come. Long back, 14 years back, a person came to me and said, Swamiji, I want to become a monk. I was a brahmachari at that time, technically not a Swami, but he called me a Swami and said, Swami, Then I said, what are you doing? He was working in Cognizant at that time. So he was a perfectly intelligent man, and why is an intelligent man becomes a monk? This is a question nobody understands. So I said, so suddenly some inspiration I got, like many inspirations. I said, who is she? Who is she? Then actually it so happened that there was a she. And because of that, he had tried suicide, did not have the courage. So he wanted to become a monk. He thought it's so easy to become a monk. So now he is continuing in Cognizant in a very senior position. But the point is, so suddenly he feels that the whole world is, transitory. All songs, Bollywood film songs begin like that. Now it's after when the heroine ditches the hero. Only then it happens. So suddenly you feel that ye matlab jahan dost na raha, etc. Same thing Arjuna also says. Then, you see, this is the translation. Why I brought this translation? It's such an eloquent versification of Bhagavad Gita. Their common blood yawn concourse of our kin, my members fail, my tongue dries in my mouth, a shudder thrills my body and my hair, bristles with horror. From my weak hand slips Gandiv, the goodly bow, a fever burns, my skin to parching. Hardly may I stand, the life within me seems to swim and faint. Gandiv, the goodly bow. Oh, the life within me seems to swim and faint. Nothing do I foresee. Say, woe and wail. It is not good, O Keshav, not of good, can spring from mutual slaughter. Lo, I hate triumph and domination, wealth and ease, thus sadly won. Finally, could profit what rule recompense, what span of life itself seems sweet, bought with such blood. Suddenly, Arjuna has got this halo behind his head. Suddenly this realization that war is not good. Why? Because he can't fight. That's the point. Suddenly he found Kripacharya, he found his own guru, he found Dronacharya, all these people, and suddenly he understands that he cannot fight. He got what? He got underperformance. This is what happens. This is the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is all about underperformance. You know what you have to do, you have been told, and in fact you ask for it. And then suddenly you say, I can't do it because you're underperforming. So they will meet you in your appraisal time and they will tell you what exactly will happen. So this is what. So we should understand our mind. Mind always plays in circles. Bhagavad Gita gives us a very strong basis, a strong foundation to understand the workings of the mind. It says in 2 shlokas, in one shloka is a couplet, 2 lines, and 2 shlokas means 4 lines. In 4 lines, there is a masterly exposition of the philosophy or the psychology of how the mind works. What is that? I will give you some smattering of Sanskrit because hearing Sanskrit will not do any harm, as many people think. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah sangas teshupa jayate sangat sanjayate kamah kamat krodho vi jayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibramah smriti bhramshat buddhi nashat pranashyati. Most of you would have understood the meaning. It's simple because Sanskrit lives in India through all the Indian languages. So it's very easy to understand. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah. People, generally human beings, pumsa doesn't mean only men, it means men and women. Human beings, they first think of sense objects. Gajar ka halwa. Today in the ashrama Kanpur they served gajar ka halwa. Really wonderful. I didn't tell them that I probably can't take more because I have some tendency towards sugar. But anyway, these things are better not said at those moments, Better eat. Objects of desire. So, dhyayato vishayan pumsah. I meditate on gajar ka halwa. The Maharaj brings and I see, wow. Then salivation starts and I want to take. Then suddenly somebody comes. There are always people who are there to say na. And this person comes and says, so now I want gajar ka halwa. My whole body has become gajar ka halwa. No, I can think only of gajar ka halwa. Some people, they will go gaze on a photo that tum nahi mile to kya hoga zindagi ka kind of situation. So you need, now I want attachment. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsah Sangah Teshu Upajayate. Immediately attachment is born. No attachment was there. A boy meets a girl, love at first sight, really. I mean, you don't know each other, and then that happens. That's what? Attachment. Then, strong desire. Sangat Sanjayate Kamah. Strong desire. It's not ordinary desire. So I now need Gajar ka halwa. Then some Maharaj turns up who knows that I have this condition, medical condition, and he says that, no, don't take, brother, because then you will have to spend ashrama money in going to doctor, etc. Don't take. Kamat krodha abhijayate. What do you mean don't take? How often do I get Gajar ka halwa? What are you talking about? I need to take Gajar ka halwa now, this moment. Anger. Then he says no. Then he knows my head of the center from where I comes. You know, everybody knows some people. Today in India, you can get all work done if you know the proper people at the proper places. So he knows. Then he will say, "Na, main Maharaj ko bata dunga." Bata dunga matlab. So then, krodha vijayate. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Delusion. Now for me, Gajar ka halwa has become more important than my entire monastic life. See, Gajar ka halwa. So, sammohat smriti vibhrama hai. And I forget what I am, who am I, what is my station in life, and then smriti brahmshat buddhi nasho. I don't know what to do. And I probably give a slap to this brahmachari. Buddhi nashat. Everything, whatever I have learned, whatever has brought to me to this position in life, I forget. I forget my standing. I forget that the brahmachari probably is only 2 years, whereas I am into the order for 15 years. I am in a position to give lecture to the brahmachari, not the other way around, etc. Everything is forgot for a Gajar ka halwa. Lack of wisdom. Then it goes on and on and on, and it creates what? Buddhi nashat pranashyati. Destruction. All I know is not only Gajar ka halwa, probably no halwa, no food. May be kicked out of the ashrama. This is what happens in our lives on a daily basis. Maybe not to that extent, not to that intensity, but this is what happens. We're always in a dichotomous situation. We always want to be or not to be is the question. Always. We always think whether to or not. Phone karunga ki nahi karunga. तो उसने मुझे फोन नहीं किया मैं वापस करूंगा कि नहीं करूंगा. This kind of, these are our existential questions today. And of course mobile companies make money out of that. That's a different question. So ponders on objects of the sense, there springs attraction, from attraction grows desire, desire flames to fierce passion, passion breeds recklessness, then the memory, all betrayed, lets noble purpose go and saps the mind till purpose, mind and man are all undone. Till purpose, man and mind are all undone. Very eloquently put. So if we understand where is the source of the problem, where is the source of the problem? So does that mean that we will not desire? Or does that mean we will not enjoy anything? Robert Ingersoll, who was a great agnostic, he once met Swami Vivekananda, or rather Swami Vivekananda met him, and he said, "Oh, you have become a monk and you cannot enjoy the life. So I am here, I can enjoy an orange, I can drink its juice, etc." So Swamiji said, "Yes, but I want to enjoy the every bit of that juice, every last drop of that juice." So what does he mean? Okay, you can have some desires, some harmless desires. Then how do we understand what is harmful and harmless? Anything which doesn't take you till this position where your purpose, mind and man, everything is undone, that is quite harmless. And also, no strong attachment. No strong attachment. If you have, okay, Gajar ka halwa, okay, I eat. If I don't have, no problem. And also you should remember that probably you have a diabetic condition, so you should not eat Gajar ka halwa. That also. So this buddhi, this faculty of discernment, of understanding, that you need to always have. Some kind of cyber patrol should always be there on your brain. That is what we need to do. If we can understand that this is the source of all problems, Bhagavad Gita very clearly tells, and also all the commentators on it, starting from Shankaracharya, they tell us that if we understand that this is the source of our problems, we can, if we just nip it in the bud, we can, control it. But Bhagavad Gita does not stop there. It gives a solution also. It says, Raga Dvesha Vimuktaistu Vishayan Indriyas Charan Atmavashyair Videyatma Prasadam Adhigachati. A person who has, but if one deals with the objects of senses, not loving and not hating, making them serve his free soul, which rests serenely Lord, lo, such a man comes to tranquility. So we should always understand who is the master here. Gajar ka halwa is not the master. I am the master. This thinking, this idea should come. You might have heard of Swami Ranganathananda ji, who was the 13th president of Ramakrishna Order. In a point of time, he was the head of our center in Hyderabad. And there was a brahmachari who has become Swami now and is heading another center. So he was there, we monks, we have peculiar ideas of austerity and how to get closer to God, etc. Swami Vivekananda in one place says that why should God come, just because you are blowing your nose, will God come flying through the air? So, but many people think that if you blow your nose and all the stuff, God will fly and come to you. So this Maharaj also had some kind of idea. So in a very hot summer, he was sitting under a fan, ceiling fan, but not switching it on, because he felt that that is the kind of austerity he should do. So there was a corridor and Maharaj was passing through and he saw this, and then he again came back and he said that Swami's name is Jairam. He said, Jairam, things are for men, men are not for things. You see, things are meant so that we can use them. So we should not have a skewed sense of spirituality where we actually keep the things, then you should not have ceiling fan at all. So you have a thing and at the same time you don't use it. That's what it says. One deals with objects of the sense, not loving and not hating, making them serve his free soul. You make these things serve this. So some people, they have qualms about using Google, about Facebook, about YouTube. I say, why don't you use technology? Technology is meant to be used, but do not get used by them. You have a strict discipline. You tell your mind, this is what you should do, like we will see later on. Oh, I was talking about the driver part, having a glorious driver. So you see, no offense to anybody, but this is a joke and it's only a story. So there was this, I think some of you may know this already. There was this Pope who was a driving person who used to drive, loved driving. But then he became a Pope, so he had no chance. So he went to another place and then he found his car being driven by a person. So he was out of Vatican City, so he was much more free. Then he said, he went little away from the place where he was put up. Then he said that, okay, you come back and I will drive. So he started driving, and probably it was United States of America. So he started speeding, and then one cop found it and just let him pass through. Then his senior cop, he questioned him, why did you let him pass through? No, he's driving a big person. Oh, who is he? No, he's a big person. He's a congressman? No, bigger than that. Is he a minister or something? No, bigger than that. Is he the president of America? No, bigger than that. Who can be bigger than president of United States of America? I said, probably he's driving the God. He's probably driving God. Huh, God? Why? How did you know God is going in that car? Because Pope was driving it. So, obviously Pope can drive whom? God. So similarly, Arjuna had God himself as his charioteer. So glorious charioteer. But still this fellow, you know how our mind gets clouded. This is another incident which we are told in the Mahabharata, that every day Arjuna used to, the courtesy is that the person, the charioteer will first get down and then ask the person to come down. and first get up and ask the person to alight the chariot. But every day it used to be the other way around. First Krishna used to get up and then tell Arjuna to come, and like that, and he used to ask Arjuna to get down, and then he used to get down. So Arjuna used to feel that I am not being given the proper respect which I deserve. He knew very well that the Lord is his charioteer, but still this happens. Suddenly he felt that he has become, and after the end of the war, he felt that I am now glorious. He forgot about all this chapter where there was serious underperformance issue, but still he felt that no, I am glorious. Now I have to show this Krishna a lesson, how he has been insulting me all through. Then he said, okay, Krishna, okay, he said, get down. So Krishna smiled. Krishna has a wonderful smile. And also in that serial, that actor also had a wonderful smile. So he said, get down. So Krishna said, Arjuna, you please get down. So this went on for some time, and then Arjuna, whatever he has, he does not have this magical disc, Sudarshan Chakra, so he was afraid of Krishna. So he said, okay, no, nothing can be done, so he got down. And then Arjuna went down and Krishna went down, and in moments, the whole chariot became powder. It simply burst and became powder. So Arjuna thought, wow, what was that? Then Krishna told him that, see, all these weapons or these missiles or this Astra and all that, they had this effect, and I was, stopping their effect till all these days. And today the war is over, so I have come down, and that's why I always used to ask you to come after me. And know that you had this ego problem and you thought that I was not respecting you. So this is what our mind knows some facts, everything is properly done, but suddenly the process somewhere we feel that we are some great person just because we have come to some position in life, etc. That is what the Bhagavad Gita says, and this example of a lotus leaf, which is very often quoted in the scriptures. You see, you take a lotus leaf, all of you have seen, and put some water, they are like this. They don't get absorbed in the leaf. They don't touch, and you just do the leaf like this, overturn it, and the water simply rolls down. So that is what we should aspire to be. It's not easy. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmanonu vidhiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam iva ambhasi. Now the question is, I don't care. What will happen if I don't follow? You have no other job coming from Kolkata and giving us a lecture. And somehow we have also suffered the lecture, but that doesn't mean that we have to follow it in toto. Fine, no problem. You may not follow that, then what will you do? Yan mano anuvidhiyate indriyanam hi charatam. You follow the dictates of your senses. You do exactly what your senses tell you. Wherever your senses take you, wherever your senses ask you to go, whatever they tell you to do. What will happen? Tadasya, the person who does that, harati pragyam, he or she loses intellect, prajna, wisdom. And what is the condition? Condition is like Titanic. That is the condition. Titanic, huge shipwreck. So Titanic people also, they thought that this is the ultimate ship, like this is the ship which will never sink, but it sank all the same. So a person who will do that, a person who will simply follow the senses without having any kind of cyber patrol mechanism, the person will face this consequence. So what should one person do? Again, tasmad, that's why. Yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyan indriyarthebhya tasya prajna pratishtita. Only with him, great prince, whose senses are not swayed by things of sense, only with him who holds his mastery, shows wisdom perfect. What is midnight? That is the thing. So according to him, according to Sri Krishna, if a person shows his mastery over the senses, like in the horse, in the Olympics which was held in London, there were many events, but certain events get more preference over the other. How many of you did actually see this equestrian events? Okay. I guess so. Next time if you ever come across, you please see this. Equestrian. Equestrian, something. English pronunciation is always a catastrophe. So, equestrian events are what? Events where horses are ridden by people, and there are a lot of events just like gymnastics where there is music and there is synchrony, etc. And you should watch it. Perfect synchrony between the rider and the horse. That is what we need to have when we are talking about our synchronization with the mind and the senses. And mind with viveka or brain. Brain not in the sense of the Western idea of brain, but wisdom, where whatever you have been taught. Swami Vijnanananda, who was a monastic disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, was repeatedly asked by many people, what should we do? What should we do? Then he used to say that whatever you should do has been taught to you in your primary classes, in the primer. Speak the truth, live a righteous life. That's all you have to do. But whether you will follow it or not, that is the real task ahead of you. That's the real challenge. So what you should do is very clear in front of you. All of us know. But how to follow that, and what are the challenges in following that, and how do you cope with them, that is the real crisis. So here also, a person has to have mastery over the senses, just like those riders who actually ask their horses to lift the toe little, or to walk, trot diagonally, to dance with the music, etc. Similarly, we should have that kind of, will you not enjoy music? Enjoy. Will you not watch movies? Watch. But you should know when to stop. You should have a kind of police mechanism in your mind. Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumams charati nisprihaya nirmamo nirahankaraha sa shanti madhigacchati. And a person who shaking off the yoke of flesh lives Lord, not servant of his lusts, set free from pride, from passion, from the sin of self, toucheth tranquility. Sin, of course, is not there in the original verse. This is an introduction by Arnold. Anyway, so Swami Vivekananda says there is no sin, there is only progress from lower truth to higher truth. You don't sin actually, you only commit a mistake. I always tell that to people who come to me and say that, oh, I have sinned. I say that, and somehow they can't believe it. It doesn't ring true in their ears. They say, really, I've done such a big mistake, and you say that Swamiji says that it's only a mistake. I said, yes, it's only a mistake. No, but it's a huge mistake. I will have to suffer in the burning hell, etc. So I said, they have gone to Mercury, Mars, and still they have not found out hell. So where is hell? We don't know. So hell and heaven are here. That is why the Bhagavad Gita is a manual where they talk about the very present situation, and that's why they say ihaiva tairjita sargaha. This is here that you will have to detach yourself. You will have to give up attachment. You will have to come away from sorrow or suffering, not somewhere else. So whenever this kind of thing happens, you will get such kind of light, and there will be a halo behind your head, and you will be enlightened. Then you don't need to watch any talks or listen to any such talks. You can also write another book on Gita. In fact, there is a book called Yet Another Book on Gita. There are so many books on Gita. So will that happen? I don't know what light will come or whatever, because all these people who try to explain their illumination, Sa Shantim Adhigacchati, he attains to tranquility. All these people say that there was an ocean of light, including Sri Ramakrishna, because they are not able to communicate actually what happened. So about light, I can tell you one thing. Once when I was in Chennai Mutt, that is Chennai Sri Ramakrishna Mutt, there was a lady who used to come to the ashrama, and she used to, after coming regularly for some months, she said that, yeah, I get enlightenment every day. Every day I am kind of enlightened, I get some kind of jyoti, darshan, some vision I get. So the Swami who was in charge of the temple, he said, oh really, what happens? She said, yes, I see this light at the end of towards the end of my meditation. So he asked, when do you meditate? So she said, 7 o'clock I start, and when do you finish? At about 8 o'clock. I said, oh, okay. So he said, don't worry, that is the time when I switch on the light in front of you. So please be careful, these things can be very misleading. You know, one fellow came to me and told, I got realization. What happened? Suddenly my kundalini started waking up. No, it went up. Everybody, we always expect something will happen. Some kundalini will come up and something will happen. Suddenly something, abracadabra. But so he said that kundalini is, I said, what happened? So I was ironing my clothes. I said, you got a shock. That's what has happened. You got a shock. And please consult a psychiatrist, because this is something I can't do. I said, how did you know, Swamiji? Because I actually consulted a psychiatrist and he says that I have got probably the beginning stages of schizophrenia. I said, fine. Thank you. So, you know, this is what happens. So spirituality is changing the way you live, changing the way you think. It is not some kind of mystery mongering or something. I would request all of you to read one book, if you have not already, called Phantoms in the Brain by one V.S. Ramachandran, who happens to be one of the leading neuroscientists. What is this book why is it so fascinating to me? It is fascinating to me because this book is written by a person who since his childhood was outside of India and approaches mind from a neuroscientist perspective, and he in fact continued experiments done by Wilder Penfield, that is brain mapping, and he inserted electrodes in the interpretative cortex and found out, in fact this is what was found out by Wilder Penfield, that they can double your consciousness. So when I am talking to you, I think parallelly, so there are two streams of consciousness, is it not? So by doubling, a person can at the same time have two streams, that is, they can think two things and attend to two people physically. It sounds very, almost impossible, but actually it has happened. People have done experiments. Wilder Penfield did his first experiment somewhere in 1920s and published his results in 1925. So he also did that. And then finally, by all these experiments, he says that if all these experiments do not prove that the idea of notion of a body, notion of a locus of a body is an illusion, then nothing will. That's a great statement. He says that the idea that Shubhadeep's body is here is an illusion. The idea that I am standing here, my locus of the body is an illusion from the neuroscientist's point of view. So anyway, I don't know how he came to that conclusion. Probably for that you need to go through his scientific papers. But what I am coming to is, there he tells me one thing which Patanjali says in his Patanjali Yoga aphorisms, and that is that if you need some kind of titillating spiritual experience in the form of some vision or some sound, etc., then you can as well eat or have LSD. No, that is easier. You don't need to have meditation. Aushadhi is the word used by Patanjali. He says these kind of experiences can be brought by medicine. And the same thing is what is talked of by this Ramachandran. He says that one of volunteers, he asked a volunteer to simply come on his table and he put this electrode in his brain and he got some ecstasy. What is the ecstasy? The person was of course an American, and for all Americans the highest acme, with no offense, is physical pleasure only. So he said that it was like having orgasm from every pore of my body. Fine. Then so Ramachandran thought, oh, so it's like an Upanishadic statement, it's so much of ecstasy. Then he found that no, it's not so. Why? Because this man, as soon as he got out from the table, his experiment table, he started flirting with his nurses. So there was no behavioral change, there was no character transformation. This was just experience, that's all. So if you just see light, that doesn't mean that you have become master of your senses. Master of your senses you have to become, and that road is a very difficult road, but if you take up that road, then you know that one fine morning you can say no when it really matters. You can actually prevent your senses from destroying you. Vitaraga bhayakrodha. This is a verse which was very much liked by Swami Ranganathananda ji. Vitaraga bhayakrodha manmaya mam upashritah bahavo jnana tapasa puta mad bhavam agata. So a person who from fear set free, from anger, from desire, keeping their hearts fixed upon me, my faithful, purified by sacred flame of knowledge, such as these mix with my being. So Sri Krishna says that these people come to me, that is Lord. Here there is a word, jnana tapasa, the austerity of knowledge, the tapasya of knowledge. There was a philosopher by name Lyotard. How many of you are aware? Francois Lyotard. He was one of the thinkers who brought about the movement called postmodernism. He wrote a book, and there he says that knowledge will be commoditized. He wrote that somewhere in 50s, and then he says 50s, 60s, he says that knowledge will eventually be commoditized, that you will have a price tag on knowledge, and that's what it will take you to become knowledgeable. I mean, you don't. So the book is titled The Postmodern Condition, a Report on Knowledge. And he says that. Similarly, Einstein says something like, I don't need to know need to know everything. I only need to know where to get something when I need it. So it gives you an idea of how knowledge will become selective, which it has already become. All you need to know is Googlai Namaha. Once you know this mantra, you know everything. You just do Googlai Namaha and bingo, you have it. Bingo is also another search engine. Bing, not O. So this thing is what Swami Ranganathananda points out, that it removes the intellectual austerity part. It only gives you information, not knowledge. It only gives you data, not wisdom. No, there is a process by which you acquire knowledge and become master of that knowledge. That process is eliminated. You only have some kind of quantitative input, but there is no qualitative enhancement or qualitative understanding or comprehension. That we need to have. And that is why Swami Vivekananda says that when a spiritual teacher teaches, it's not just some words going from one person to the other, but there is a force which goes from one person to another. For example, in a very, very worldly context, worldly quote unquote, in a very, very mundane context, when a person says, I love you, it doesn't mean just those three words. I think you will believe, is it not? There is some kind of a feeling which goes from one person to another. And it's not just dry three words, which there is some kind of chemistry. I don't know why they call this chemistry, not biology or physics. But anyway, there's some kind of chemistry there. And that chemistry is what makes the other person understand that, yes, what the person is telling is actually in truth. So this intellectual austerity is what we need to have. How can we have intellectual austerity when we are talking about mind? We saw dhyayate vishayan pumsah, objects of desire and consequent attachment to those objects is the root of all evil. So intellectual austerity is like having someone in your brain saying, no, I will not have this. Bahavo jnana tapasa puta. Puta means becoming sacred or becoming pure. Pavitra, from that word, pavana, from that word it comes, puta. So becoming pure, purified. Bahavo jnana tapasa. Out of lot of intellectual austerity. It doesn't happen in one day. So you constantly deny yourself, or you constantly understand. In Sanskrit, that's a beautiful word called aparigraha. Means having only that much which is necessary, which is optimum utilization of resources. Some people have a fleet of 40 cars in their houses. You can ride only one at a time. So some people have so many watches, so many mobiles, and this dual SIM concept I never could understand, because at one point of time you can only attend one call. So what is the fun in having two SIMs, duo SIM and all that? So this aparigraha if you have, then your mind says that no, I will not have more than what I need. I will not go for more than what I need. Okay, this is an allurement, this is a temptation, but I will not give in to this temptation. And it actually in practice takes only few moments. If you give in, those are also only few moments, and if you withstand yourself, means you don't give in, you hold yourself, those are also few moments. After that you really think, oh, what is that? You know, Tyagarupananda came, Tyagarupananda ji told me one incident that he is now in Vidya Mandir. So there in the hostel, there was a boy who wanted to leave the hostel and go. People, they feel that hostel is so, so they suddenly feel so phobic. So he wanted to go, and he wanted to go to his house and something. So Maharaj told, okay, have you had your food? No. So he said, okay, have food properly, take a nice nap, and then we will think about it. So he went, had food, and Maharaj had a secret instruction that feed him nicely, stuff him properly. So all this pious, kheer, everything was stuffed, and he became full, and then suddenly got sleep, and he slept, and then he came out and was having tea. Then Maharaj said, you were telling about going, what going? Going where? So in only few moments, only at that heat of the moment you feel that, no, I want to do, I want it now. But once you just turn the mind somewhere else, then mind forgets. It's how you channelize the mind. So this intellectual austerity means having some kind of monitoring content filter here in your brain. So once you have the content filter in the right place, then you have no problem. Police, that's what we are talking about. If you are wondering where this fancy car is, it's in Tamil Nadu. Police having such fancy car. This is Haldia refinery. So what Swami Ranganathan says is we need to have a mental refinery. We purify our thoughts to such an extent that after some time, no impure thoughts come out of your brain. Whatever you think are good. Now you would have heard probably that if somebody practices penance or purity of thought, word and deed for 12 years, whatever that person tells becomes true. How does that happen? Because if you keep on practicing this, whatever you think or tell will be true to begin with. Because you have put a mechanism in place where you only think what is pure. And what is pure? That which is true and that which is unselfish is pure. Now this has to be done by you. Feel it, say it. So this has to be felt by you and said by you and done by you. It cannot be, probably you can hear it in a talk or in the YouTube, or you can read about it, but it has to be practiced by you. Uddharet atmanat manam, na atmanam avasadayet. Atmaiva hi atmano bandhuhu, atmaiva ripu atmanah. You are your own friend and you are your enemy. And it's you, just like you do this pull-ups. I don't know how many of you do, but people who do, you pull yourself up using your own strength and then you let yourself go loose, and again you do that. So you are the person who can bring yourself up, and you are the person who can let you down. So you have to be careful. There is no other person. Never say that, oh, I am, because of you everything happened. तुम अगर मेरे जिंदगी में नहीं होते तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता, blah blah blah. How many Hindi film dialogues are written like that? So no, please don't blame anything. When you become angry, it's because you want to become angry. When you suffer, actually you want to suffer, that's why you suffer. You may call me straight from the loony bin, but this is what it is. Actually it's the philosophy and it's also the psychology. You suffer because you want to suffer. You cry because you want to cry. That's why some people have pipelines in their eyes. So this is what Bhagavad Gita is telling. First it is telling us the problem. Before that it is telling that you don't want even to address the problem, underperformance. Then it is telling us this is the problem and this is the solution. But who has to do it? You have to do it. And how do you do it again? First you have to have a strong resolution, not like the ones which you have usually during New Year. Not those. Sankalpa prabhavan kamans tyaktva sarvan asheshatah manasaiv indriya gramam viniyamya samantatah. Then once you have a strong resolution, then how do you go about it? You sit for a meditation and in 1 hour flat you achieve illumination. It doesn't happen like that. Shanai shanai uparamed. Slowly. It always happens slowly. Now somebody was asked, again a joke, somebody was asked that be very active and don't sleep and be very brisk. Then they said, why? Then you will live long and you will be happy. He said, no, I follow the tortoise model. The tortoise lives probably the longest or something. So it, you know the speed of tortoise. So I want to live long, so khatiya mein pade raho. And going on a tangent, Swami Vivekananda's message, arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached, I think has been wrongly understood by Indians. Why? Because a recent study tells that Indians are the most sleep deprived in the world. So Swamiji said, arise, awake, so you're not going to sleep. No, I don't think that's what he meant. So please have a good night's sleep. 8 hours sleep is what one should have. And this is unfortunate. Many youngsters have died in the recent past, at least some whom I knew personally, because of serious cardiac condition, heart condition, because they did not sleep well. So people think 4 hours sleep, 5 hours sleep is a big thing. No, you need to sleep properly. And that is one big stress buster. You will not be stressed if you sleep properly. So anyway, shanai shanai uparamed, buddhya dhriti grihitaya. You have to have the resolution, then slowly and steadily. Buddhya dhriti grihitaya, steadily, steadfastness. Atma samstham mana kritva na kinchid api chintayet. You have this strong resolution, slowly progress steadfastly, and do not think, do not waver. But of course your mind will waver. The moment you ask your mind not to do something, that's exactly what it will do. So don't do this, means it will do. So never, when you become parents, never tell your children, don't do this, because then they will do that. So then if you do, or when your mind does, what to do? Yato yato nischalati, manas chanchalam astiram. More the mind wavers from the object, your goal. Goal fixing is something which we don't generally do. We construct buildings, but we don't have goal in our lives. So goal setting you have, then you slowly and steadily progress towards the achievement of that goal. And when the mind deflects from that goal, you bring back the mind and fix it on the goal. So there is this demon, according to Swami Vivekananda in one of his stories in Karma Yoga. So that demon was, whatever work is given to the demon, that person will do. Jinn, Alauddin ka jinn kind of. So this one work he couldn't do, one job, that is straightening the tail of dog. So he will do like this and again. So similarly, mind is more like a monkey, you know. So you need to bring the mind back again and fix it on the goal. And if you do that, Atmanni eva vasham nayet. If you do that, then probably in some time, you see, steadfastly the will must toil thereto, till efforts end in ease, and thought has passed from thinking, shaking off all longings bred by dreams of fame and gain, shutting the doorways of senses close, with watchful ward, so step by step it comes, to gift of peace assured, and heart assuaged, when the mind dwells self-wrapped, and the soul broods, cumberless. But as often as the heart breaks wild and wavering from control, so oft let him recurb it, let him rein it back. So when you feel that you have to make a call so desperately, switch off the mobile phone. Do it, practice it. When you feel that your entire existence is dependent on that SIM card, switch it off. Have some 15 minutes rest, and then you will see that it doesn't matter. Actually, nothing changes. In fact, as Shubhadeep was telling, in the good old days when there was no mobile phone, people were still working, right? In fact, business was being done, etc. And we Indians are very passionate about mobile phone because we are passionate about talking. Talking. Hardly accomplishing anything. We just talk. And so all the mobile phone companies of the world come here, invest, and they know sure profit. Because we love to talk, not communicate. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Now, Arjuna says that my mind is so restless. It's not rest in peace, but rest in pieces. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayorivasu dushkaram. And it is difficult to control this mind, as difficult as to control wind. How can you control vayu, wind? Is it possible even to control? No, it's not. So it says chanchalam. So what do? You are giving me all this funda about, but I know, Swamiji, that I should bring back the mind and all this blah blah, but it's not possible, you see. When I don't want to think of Domino's pizza, that is what I think about. So how to control? So it says asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. 3 keywords: abhyasa, vairagya, and 2 keywords: abhyasa and vairagya. So he says, yes, there is no doubt that it is chanchalam, and it is difficult to control mind. It's difficult to control. It's not just having some lines of programming and you have a content filter. It's not that simple. It's very difficult. So abhyasena tu kaunteya. Talking about mobile phones, one Swami who is a great orator, he was giving a lecture in Advaita Ashrama very recently, some days back, and some mobile phones were buzzing, and our devotees have this bad. And through dispassion, you can control it. So there was one Swami called Swami Gambhiranandaji. He has translated many of the scriptures from Sanskrit to English, particularly the Upanishads and the Gita. And he was also the president of Ramakrishna Math and Mission. So he was once walking, and he found, so this is what he says, that restrained by habit, man's heart is to restrain, and wavering yet made grow restrained by habit. So restrained by habit, that is the thing. So he saw this scene, a young man throwing newspaper in cycle. He saw, he was walking with his assistant Sevak, and he saw this, and that he was throwing it to some second floor or something, and he was riding in the bicycle, and he did not stop. He just threw it like that, and it fell right in place in the balcony. We see it. It's a very common sight. So Maharaj said, oh, such a wonderful practice. Then he called that person. He said, how did you do that? Then he, riding the cycle, he went across by him, he passed by him, and he said, Abhyasena tu kaunteya. He actually told these Sanskrit words. So you see, spirituality lives in India. If some so-called intellectual tells you that it doesn't, he or she is a fool. That's what. Because why? I have many reasons. And religion, Swami Vivekananda says that if you can, from Gangotri, Ganga starts, and it goes to Ganga Sagar, mixes with the ocean. So Swamiji says, if you can even change the course of Ganges, if you can probably change it to some other place, even if that were possible, it is not possible to change the fact that religion is the pivot, religion is the backbone of India. All politicians know that, but they don't tell you that. That's what. They use it to their advantage. They know that. Why? Because in India, if in some nook and corner of India, a Ganesha idol drinks milk, next 2 hours, all Ganesha idols across the world drink milk. They do. If in India you find a drunkard truck driver, no, who goes to those roadside dabas, has so many other things I don't want to say because they may not be parliamentary. So it has so much fun in one sense, and comes back next day on the steering wheel. What does he do? Like this. Or he will also show some agarbatti. And the stench of liquor has not died. Worse still, some people who drink, before drinking they do this. I in fact asked my friend, what is this you are doing? I don't drink, okay. I just saw it and I asked, what is this doing? He said, offering. Wow. Religion lives in India. So, abhyasena tu kaunteya. Even that newspaper boy knows that by abhyasa, by practice, one can achieve things which seem difficult. Then there are certain moral belief systems or value systems, not belief systems, value systems, which is better if we follow them. It's like antivirus, you have this in place and your system is safe. The first thing you should do when you get a new system is put the antivirus. Then baad ki baad mein dekhi jayegi. First you put this and then get all the updates and then you do whatever you want. Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsacha Shariram Tapa Uchyate. So, body, word and mind. At these 3 levels, you need to have some kind of antivirus control. What is this? Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shaucham Arjavam. You need to worship or respect gods, people who are knowledgeable, your teachers, and Shaucham, be cleanly, Arjavam, straightforward, Brahmacharyam, be pure in thought, word and deed, Ahimsa, not kill people. Every one keyword will lead to a series of lectures, so I am not going in detail into them, but this is what Bhagavad Gita tells us. This is also psychology. The moment you have this clear in your mind, automatically allied problems are avoided. Shariram tapa uchyate. Brahmacharyam ahimsa. Then anudvegakaram vakyam. You don't speak in such a way which will create trouble. Satyam priya hitam chayat. And you speak truth. There is a quotation which is wrongly quoted always. Satyam vada priyam vada ma vada satyam apriyam. So the second part says, first part is you have to speak truth and you have to speak which is pleasant to hear. Never speak truth which is unpleasant. But the second part says that never speak something which is pleasant if it is untrue. So please do not polish your words. Then what is the difference? Suppose you see a lame person. You don't call a lame person because it's quite evident. You don't call a fat person, you call the person healthy. You don't call it fat, no? Healthy. So you don't call something which is very evident. But at the same time, if a person is doing something wrong, you need to tell it on the face. Vangmayam swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva. So swadhyaya you do, you have your learning curve proper, and then you abhyasa, you practice it. That is Vangmaya tapa. That is the austerity at the word level, speech level. Mana prasada saumyatvam, maunam atma vinigraha. And mana prasada, you are cheerful always. That is, according to Swami Vivekananda, the first sign of your becoming religious. Then maunam atma vinigraha. You keep quiet. Not that, you speak only when you are required to. Otherwise you are not becoming garrulous or chatterbox, etc. bhava samshuddhihi iti etat tapo manasam uchyate. And you have a purity of intention, bhava samshuddhi. We do mistakes, but the biggest mistake would be to have a wrong intention. Discipline even Hitler had, but he didn't have good intention. So just having discipline, that's why in our mythology we have wonderful lessons. Ravana also did tapasya. Kumbhakarna also did tapasya. But their intentions were different. So worship of gods, meriting worship, lowly reverence, twice born. Actually twice born is a word which is used for Brahmins, but that has lost its context. Twice born, why? Because first they are born out of the womb, then they are born when the sacred thread is given. Rectitude and the brahmacharya vow, and not to injure any helpless thing. These make a true religiousness of act. Word causing no man woe, words ever true, gentle and pleasing words, and those ye say in murmured reading of a sacred rite. These make the true religiousness of speech, serenity of soul, benignity, sway of the silent spirit, constant stress to sanctify the nature. These things make good right and true religiousness of mind. Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah indriyan indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. So we saw that how the mind has been analyzed in the Bhagavad Gita. I have taken only selective verses. Bhagavad Gita is replete with such verses. And then how Bhagavad Gita in 2 verses says the chain of events which leads to our destruction. So what does it want us to be? In this shloka it gives a very graphical imagery. It says, a person who to none and nowhere overborne by ties of flesh takes evil things and good, neither desponding nor exulting, such bears wisdom's plainest mark. So you just take things as they come, and you do not have you don't sit on value judgment also, and at the same time you know what to take. So as the wise tortoise draws its 4 feet safe under its shield, his 5 frail senses back under the spirit's buckler from the world. Firewall, that's what. Windows firewall. So Bhagavad Gita says that you should have firewall. Not that you just don't allow any data packet to enter into your system. That can't be. But you have a firewall which will actually see what is entering. And like the tortoise. So this is the tortoise, but when it finds itself in danger, in peril, what does it do? It does this. It kurma angani iva. Kurma means tortoise in Sanskrit. Angani iva, just like the limbs of a tortoise. It draws all the limbs. So sometimes when you are trying to, a girlfriend boyfriend kind of scenario, when you are trying to impress and the person does not listen to what you are telling, best thing is keep the mobile. Let the person talk, keep the mobile aside. And believe me, after 5 minutes you take, the person is still talking. It happens. So you just keep it, and then so just withdraw yourself, and that gives you lot of serenity, that gives you mental peace. This to me is the crux of the whole psychology of human mind. And starting from those 2 shlokas and ending with this shloka, Bhagavad Gita has given us a complete manual on how to deal with the mind. Now how to actually do it depends on us. Do you have any questions? Speechless. No questions?
I was just saying, how do you decide what is good or what is bad? You are training your mind to do the good things and avoid the bad things. How can you, your parents say something different, you actually feel something different, some people say something different, how do you actually judge what is
So that's why these manuals, they come to help. They give you a definite set of ideas that these are bad and these are good. Having said that, whenever you do something good, you get a feel of ennobling something, no, sense of ennoblement, and also you get a tremendous feeling of strength. Something which gives you strength, that is good according to Swami Vivekananda, and anything which weakens you, you should reject it as poison. So these manuals, they will tell you that speak truth. Now you know that speaking truth, now you should not speak lie, that you know. Now if you're generally parents nowadays, they may change, they may say, झूठ बोलो ना क्या है, रिश्वत ले लो ना क्या है, सब लोग ले रहे हैं आप भी ले लो. So yes, सब लोग बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं, हम भी कर लेते हैं. So then you turn up to the parents and say that आप जाओ वहाँ पे हमने 5 लाख रुपया डिपॉजिट कर दिया है, वो आपकी देखभाल कर लेंगे, हर महीने हम 10,000 भेज देंगे, सम वृद्धाश्रम. बोला ऐसा क्यों कहा? तो आप कह रहे थे ना सब लोग कर रहे हैं, तो ये भी सब लोग कर रहे हैं. Are you getting the point? So parents may not be telling you what is true, teachers may not tell you that, students or your friends may not tell you that, but then you know from these manuals, this is what I should do. And then you should do them and then find whether it gives you strength. Now help means what kind of help?
Maybe some monetary help, maybe I need to go somewhere and then do something. So some other person also could do, according to my consideration, that is not required.
Okay. You see, Sarada Devi, who was the wife, I don't know, or consort or whatever of Sri Ramakrishna, because they were not husband and wife in that sense of the term. She said that whenever somebody is begging in front of you, that person is in need. She said this in the context of service in Ramakrishna Mission. In a hospital center, many people who could spend money, who could go to doctors and pay money, they were coming to the ashrama and enjoying the free service of the ashrama. So the monks were upset. They said, why are they doing this? So she told, Sarada Devi told, that if somebody comes to you and spreads their hand and say, I want, then the person is in need. So according to your context, somebody is coming to your help, then the person is in need. Now it depends on whether you will help or not. Please don't sit on a value judgment whether the person needs that or not. That we don't need to do. According to that person, the person needs. Now whether you will help or not, you can say, I will not help, that's all. Our problem is we want to have a proper relationship, at the same time not want to help. Then in the via media we end up telling lies. Yes, बहुत काम था. You may be sitting in the AC cabin and say, बहुत काम था, मैं अभी आ रही हूँ वगैरह. Don't do that. Just arjavam, straightforward. Tell that I don't think I can help you in this. Fine. You may lose a friend. Okay. Facebook is there. No, don't be rude. Very politely say. Call center. If something goes wrong with your mobile, मुझे आशा है कि हमने आपकी शिकायत का पूरा ये किया. अरे कहाँ किया है? कुछ नहीं किया. फिर भी आशा. Any questions? Yes. Huh? Strong desire is yes, bad thing. Strong purpose and strong desire, these are two different things. Strong resolution, sankalpa is the word in Sanskrit. Strong resolution and strong desire. Desire means it will bring attachment. Sankalpa, I will give you a very empirical example. Surgery, all of us know there are surgeons. No surgeon, or generally surgeons, don't perform a surgery which is related to their relatives, friends or relatives. They don't perform because surgery requires a lot of precision, very high level of precision. So the hands, what happened to Arjuna happens there. Hands start shaking, trembling. So they ask some other surgeon to perform the surgery. Now, why I am coming there? Because the strong desire that the person should get well is there. So it leads to attachment. But when the surgeon is doing some other surgery, there is no desire. The surgery he will perform and patient will be operation successful, patient died, no problem. No problem. But here the person wants that my daughter should survive. So there will be confusion. Are you getting the point? Both places there is a difference. This is strong desire and there is strong resolution. Even there the surgeon comes to the operation theatre and wants that the operation should be successful. There is a strong resolution. But that's not strong desire.
How to find the cause and remedy of dejection?
Dejection. Somebody has dejected. No, okay. You need not answer that question anyway. I mean, cause of dejection by somebody. Rejection. You find dejection. So you have to use the chain. No? You have to find out, like in sometimes in systems you do. You have to find out when this onset of that dejection, when this dejection started. Was that after getting some particular mobile phone call or something? So you have to find out. Seriously, you have to find out, you have to trace the cause. That's what, you can do it. And another technique is, you just see what maximum is going to go wrong. At the maximum level, what will go? What is the worst possible outcome? And be prepared for that, mentally. Because most of the times nothing will happen. We are just making our head reel. No, existence of ourselves means your idea of yourself you have to understand. What are you? That is again a different topic. What are you? Whether you are this body, you are this mind, you are some qualification or what? When you associate yourself with these things which are very, temporary, then you feel this, that I am losing. That's what happened. So somebody's Facebook account Gmail account gets hacked, the person may as well commit suicide. So we have actually our whole thing in olden days, good old days, fairy tales used to be there, no? So like this Lord Voldemort, he has converted his life into so many parts and it is stored in so many, one is the snake, etc., etc. So this is not new to us. Pariyon ki kahaniyon mein ye tha. So some tota will be there, Saat Samundar Par, and you go and find the heart of that tota and kill that tota, this asura will die. So now our tota, you have to find out where your tota is. Gmail, Facebook or whatever. Is it your real existence? This is exactly the question which Arjuna asked. He says that I don't want to do, but somehow somebody by force is making me do. So then Krishna says that this is your desire, this is your prarabdha, the impressions of the actions which you have done in the past. See, we have performed in the Hindu tradition or the Indian tradition, we believe in reincarnation or rebirth. So I have done so many actions in this life and many in the last life or the previous lives. So those have left some samskara on my mind. So those samskaras will ask me to do this. Baladiva niyojati, that is the word used in Gita. So you have to at that time keep quiet.
This word anudvega or something like
Udvega, anudvega.
it means free of anxiety, or is it?
When in doubt, consult the manual. Okay. So what is the translation? Anudvega karam vakyam. Words causing no man woe. That's what I said. No, it doesn't cause any trouble in other person. Udvega karam means vega karam, causing restlessness. Anudvega karam means not causing restlessness. So if I call somebody a stupid, maybe they will not bother. Something like that. If I tell somebody that, oh, you have been fired or something. So it will cause restlessness. But if you are the HR manager of a big company, you probably have to tell that. So how do you, this is all the topic of the film, what is that? Up in the Air. So this is a big question. That is really, this film Up in the Air was very interesting because there in one scene, this George Clooney comes and tells that I was thinking that how little you need actually. He takes a big backpack of the person who has just joined, the woman, and starts rejecting all the things. Then he tells her that you don't actually need so many things. So when I was packing to come here, actually I remembered that scene. I said, oh really, we don't need many things. This is all we need. Yes?
What to do after facing the cause, that cause of being here?
Remove the cause.
It is not in our control.
No, everything is in your control. In every sense, everything is in your control. From the Advaitic point of view also, everything is in your control. In fact, Advaitic standpoint is, this world is not there, it is because of you, you are projecting this world. Okay, I will not go to that extent now, but point is, it is in your control. It is in your control. The association which we develop, that is very much in our control. If I don't take pizza or gajar ka halwa, nothing is going to, hell is not going to break loose.
Where are the answers? Are they actually inside me or they are in some mentor or?
They are inside you. You have the answer yourself. The very point that you were actually asking me, are they inside me? You know the answer. They are inside you.
I mean, so somehow I don't believe in.
You don't believe? I will give you an example. You see a naked woman. Sorry, my examples are all very, radical. But it needs to be like that so that it drives the point home quickly. A naked woman to a child of 2 years. Does she make any difference? Okay, the naked woman, if it's going to be somebody's mother, any difference? But if it's just a naked woman, so much of excitement or so much of turbulence in somebody's mind. So where is this coming from? Is it coming from the object or from the subject? No, I told you, this is not attachment, it is resolution. You should have a strong resolution to achieve that goal, not attachment. Suppose you do not achieve, that's again a point. We are not trained for failure, we are always trained for success. Suppose you do not achieve, what? You don't have plan B, plan C, plan D, up to Z you can have plans. Yes?
Just like failure, so success means some sort of a pressure and also feels like you are above someone.
Yes. No, failure also brings dejection or kind of sorrow, and success brings pleasure. But Bhagavad Gita tells us that instead of this, you have something, you do something because you have a purpose, you have a vision. That's why I translate it. You have a vision and have passion for that vision. And you achieve that vision. But if you can't, do not be dejected, do not be depressed. And at the same time, if you are successful also, do not be happy about, overjoyous about that. That's what Bhagavad Gita. No, it's very easily said than done. That's why Shanai Shanai Uparamed, slowly and steadily. Yes, time's up.
Yeah. So we can take more questions. Swamiji is here for next 2 days. So you can brief something about tomorrow's lecture.
Tomorrow will be angels and demons. No, that's what the topic of lecture is, and it's not of that Dan, what is it, Dan Brown? No, not that angel. And then third day it will be facing real life challenges. You are facing me, that kind of challenge.
We hope to have more interactive sessions on the third day. So hope to you can come up with your own questions, and we will.
And I'm here now. I will have food and then go.
Yes.
So
Tomorrow also, anytime anybody wants to meet, can contact us. So for the wonderful lecture, we really thank Swamiji. I request our faculty advisor, Professor Joyanta Chatterjee, to felicitate Swamiji with a shawl and a moment.